Okay, so we are on. So Dr. Levit, it is so important. I'm so thankful and so honored that you at this late hour agreed to update our community about urgently important matter, and I hope that our program will save lives, because somehow many people until recently felt it's behind us. It's all joke. It's all political. It's nothing more than a flu. And unfortunately, some of these people, very close friends of mine, are in the hospital. So can you please update us? And part of my question is, some people say, I had it already. Like, what do you want? Do you want me to wear a mask? I have antibodies. I was sick. What do we do?
So there's a lot of stuff that we need to be updated about, and a few things are really key. And number one is to understand that the virus is real. It's not only affecting one or another community, it's affecting all of us. Those who think it's like the regular flu are deceived, although they are not far from the truth. This flu is unlike any other flu because it's brilliant in a bad way. It has evolved to find the weaknesses that are genetically inherent in our bodies. There are 13 chromosomes that have been found to have genetic mutations that predispose us to a more severe disease with this flu. And one of the more common ones is affecting about in 10% of the population in one study was found, is a condition where our body is attacking our own, so to say, police force. And so if you want to liken it to what is happening on the streets, if you are not allowing the police to do their job, you are preventing law and order to take place, and therefore the problem gets to rage out of control, and there is a lot of collateral damage, which is, as we know, the issues with the lung. The other thing that one must realize is that it's not what was before. The hospitals are not at the loss of what to do. There are protocols. It is safe now to go to the hospital. They're not inundated with patients. They have specialized rooms that they can help the patients in. So there is no need to try and hide in the house. Another thing is, don't underestimate this. A lot of people, what I'm seeing, are saying, you know what, it's just a little cold, it's just a little flu, I'll get over it. The other person got over it. Okay, fine, the other person got over it. Do you know your genetic susceptibilities? Do you really want to find out? Is that your goal? Let me tell you, I'm for prevention. When I get into the car, do I wait to see if another car will hit me and I'll need my seatbelt? That will be too late. I put on my seatbelt. But I have to admit, when I was a kid, I didn't like that seatbelt. It kind of held me down, felt uncomfortable. But that seatbelt has saved my life a few times. And if you don't wear a seatbelt, then I understand why you won't want to wear a mask or why you would want to play around with that. But let me tell you, you need only one time to be hit with it to realize that you are a human and you cannot control everything. The next thing that is important to understand, and I see a lot of that, is, as you said correctly, some people say, well, I already had it before, I'm already immune, I can't get it. Unfortunately, the antibodies are waning down, and most studies show that it lasts you for about 2 to 3 months, and after 2 to 3 months it goes down. And I've seen people sick even within 3-4 weeks of their previous infection. Now, yes, I do find that those people who were sick before will be not sick as badly as they were before, but you'll still get sick no matter what your initial titers were. The other question they say is like, look, I had it before, so therefore I cannot pass it to someone else. The answer is wrong. Let me explain to you. If you washed your hands and then you touched a dirty area, are you not going to wash your hands again? I mean, you already washed your hands. Okay. If you were already sick with a certain virus or an infection, and you actually touch that infection again, are you not going to get sick with that? You won't need an antibiotic again? Yes, you need an antibiotic again. The same thing with this virus. It will hide in your nose. And I've seen this with many other infections. And as a matter of fact, it's a practical protocol for me. I saw today a gentleman who was having a rash on his body. That was a staph infection. Who would go and scratch his nose? I did, because I've seen those things where you treat the body and in 2 months he gets the rash again. Why? Because you need to get rid of the root of the problem. It hides over there very well. So you are very easily able, as you breathe, as you cough, you're able to pass the virus to other people, old people, young people, susceptible people with predisposing condition people. So very important, wear the mask, wash the hands. And then the last thing that I would say is, please, if you have the flu and you're not sure, there are amazing systems put in place to help you get tested. They'll even come to your home. Even if you don't have insurance, you just give your social security 4 last digits, they'll do it for you. The government pays for it. It's amazing what our government has done for us. You know, we're so fortunate. People don't even realize the amount of help that this government has put forth for us. So you utilize it, get tested. Now, why do I say get tested? Because if you're positive, number one, you'll be able to warn other people who were in contact with you. So they will watch out because they'll pass it on to other people. Would you want your grandfather to leave this world earlier in suffocating? Because this is basically you suffocate to death. Do you want that? No. So when you're doing that, you're not only thinking about yourself, and that's very, very important thing to remember. You are saving lives by protecting yourself, by wearing the mask, by washing the hands, by doing the test on time, by informing other people. Shouldn't be any taboo about that, because it's not your fault. You know, if you have that virus, it's not necessarily your fault. You can wear the mask and still get that virus. So those are the key things that I've seen people mistakes that I've seen people do. One, think that if they had it before, they won't get it again. If they had it before, they will not pass it to other people. Or thinking that they don't have to wear a mask because they're young. I've seen people in their 20s at the death step, their lungs collapse, tubes put in them. People in their 30s, even women, because they say it affects more men, even women dying. 1 minute they're talking to their child, is saying, when mommy are you going to come home? The next the person is dead and the child is calling, mommy, I want to talk to you, and the nurse is holding the phone, is like all in tears. She's like, what am I going to tell? What am I going to tell that child? Do you want to be responsible for such a thing? I don't want to be responsible for such a thing. I don't think anybody wants to be. So it's really straightforward. It's really simple. Now, the other thing that's really important that we didn't talk on the radio show, Rabbi, is we are now entering a very dangerous time. Let me explain to you why. If you were sick before, not good, but you survived, good for you. If you weren't sick yet, you're now approaching the real storm. I'll explain why. You have the flu coming in, you have a pneumonia coming in, and you still have no way to get immunized from the corona. So if you're gonna get the flu and you're gonna get on top of that the corona, you're one punch, second punch, the third punch is the knockout, that's the pneumonia. It will be impossible to recover. So don't increase your risk of getting the corona because you're at an increased risk for flu. So some people are asking, should you do the flu vaccine? Well, guess what? Nobody can get the flu vaccine now. There is a limited amount of flu vaccine. They only have it right at CVS, if I'm not mistaken. You need to get the quadrivalent vaccine. I highly recommend, if you never took it before, take that, because it will give you a little bit of immunity so that you will not suffer as much if you, God forbid, get the corona. And just be careful. That doesn't mean that you have to stay home, but don't look for it. Don't look for the problem. Don't come closer to people if you don't have to. The other question is, okay, if I'm outside, can I be outside and not wear the mask? And it's not a great idea to do that, not to wear the mask if you're outside, but I would say I would be less I would be less concerned about that as long as you keep the distance from someone. But if you're planning to be close to someone, especially if you're planning to be close to someone on a prolonged period, more than like a minute or two, I know they have a rule of 10 minutes. I disagree with the 10 minutes rule. It depends on the air, depends on the humidity. There are a lot of factors. I don't want to confuse people. So if you're planning to be with someone close for more than a minute, or you see that that person is coughing or sneezing, please, don't be next to them without a mask. And if you sneeze, don't sneeze on your hand into your elbow, as we discussed before, and go change your clothes or something. Don't spread it.
I just want to clarify, when you said without a mask, a regular mask doesn't really protect you from that person at all. That's what I heard. K95, I believe you said to me, the Chinese are really not good, not efficient. The only one that does protect is actually N95. Correct?
So
That's,
I will,
yeah.
partially. So the K95 are actually the ones made by the Chinese are good.
Are not good or good?
They're good. They're good.
The one that put behind the ears?
Yes, the one put behind the ears. Let me get you one.
Oh,
here we go. This kind of masks, they are
I
good.
saw reports that 70% of them were found not to be efficient, like the government wants to sue them or whatever it is. So I'm happy to hear, because I have them. I don't know what to do with them. So
no, they're good. They're effective. And look, there is fake everything, but I've been wearing them. I've had other people wear them, and they are good as long as they have the 5 layers that they're supposed to have.
the question of the closing or not leaving open areas that the air comes unfiltered.
There will be open areas. The idea with all this mask is to reduce the viral load, reduce the viral load that you're exposed to. So if you're looking at the statistics, 45 to 55% of the people, and I believe now it would be higher, this statistics is from about 2-3 months ago, in New York City and in other major cities already have the corona. Many of them don't know that they even have it. And the issue is, when you look at the antibody titers, the way that we look at whether you're positive or negative is the level of the antibody titers. And they don't realize that the lower antibody titer, if you have quantitative analysis, means that you still had the virus. You just didn't have it very sick, or you were not exposed to a high viral load, or you recovered faster. But most likely you did get it. You were exposed to it. So by wearing the mask, you're reducing the chance of passing it to others,
of course,
and which is the key. And also by wearing the mask, you are reducing the amount of virus that will enter into your system, giving your body more time to develop the immunity to it. So it's basically, are you fighting one-on-one on a street fight, or are you fighting 1 against 5? You want to improve the odds in your favor. Are you fighting like a little child, or are you fighting a big martial artist? You want to.
So even regular mask in that regard is also provide some kinds of protection for you.
So when we talk about regular mask, we need to differentiate it. So you have the surgical mask. The surgical mask is not as effective as the N95 or KN95. This is the KN95. You're correct. The
cloth.
The cloth one that people put is even less protective than the surgical mask. People don't realize it. They buy a lot of it. It's nice, it's comfortable, it's soft, but it's not as protective. Obviously, we know, because
it's very
not
important.
made.
It is so important what you said right now. I know my relatives and my family wear these beautiful masks, and by you saying it, it's not really protected. Well, right. It's not a good way to protect yourself. So important. I want to thank you. So what is the best way to protect? If they go on the street, or they go to a synagogue, they go to meet with people, whenever, what is the best way to protect yourself when we talk about masks?
The other thing important to remember is, depend on the activity that you do, you have to be comfortable with the mask that you wear, because if you're not going to be comfortable, you're going to be taking it off very soon. You're going to touch it in different places, and then your hands are contaminated. Then you remove the mask inappropriately, which, by the way, you need to remove it from the ears. So you kind of do that, and you remove it from the ears, as opposed to another way. And then when you put it down, you have to put it on a surface that actually will not be contaminated. So I put it usually on a piece of towel, not simply on a
Can you
regular.
reuse this mask? Okay, not okay.
I do reuse them unless I find that I was exposed to someone.
I
So
see.
I usually use it for about a week.
I see.
You kind of get the idea. After a while, I start seeing a little bit of you know, chocolate if I ate a little chocolate on the inside of the mask. So, you know, I
Good.
don't get around to eating much. So I cheat occasionally, eat a little chocolate, make me happy. But you start seeing that it's time to change the mask. The N95, if it has a valve, the question, and we spoke about it, how effective or not effective that mask is, and it's believed to be worse for other people. So for yourself, yes, it is great. For other people, not so. The question is why. If you have one entry point and one exit point, if you're going to suck in the virus like a vortex, you'll suck it all in there. Where will it be? It will get stuck on the filter. Well, when you breathe out, where are you breathing out? You're breathing out mostly from the same place. So you're pushing air under force and you're pushing those viruses spreading into other people. So not a very good idea if you're trying to protect others as well. Therefore, the N95 without the valve is better. The best masks to wear are the duck type masks that are made specifically and measured. I was fitted for one when I was a resident at Columbia Presbyterian Hospital in dermatology. But you know, at that time, who knew I would need the mask? I don't even know where that mask is, if it's even around here anymore. So the N95, KN95 are very good. Definitely use them, better than the nice ones. And if you are going to go to see someone, which I have gone in the hospital to see people who were sick, I wear an additional mask on top of that. So what I do is I wear a surgical mask on top, and then as I leave, I discard the surgical mask. And you know, depending on my feeling of closeness of exposure, I may discard both masks.
So, about social distancing, in real life situations, yes, there are synagogues, some of them are pretty small, and people come, and the 6 feet, not realistic. What to do? Stay home, come anyway, try to do what you can, open the windows, ventilation, what to do?
This question is brilliant question, Rabbi, brilliant question. I love this question. So this is something that I've been thinking a lot about for a while. And there are a few things that you can do, starting from number one, making sure that there is increased humidity. Obviously, a little bit uncomfortable, but the more air conditioning you have, the less humidity, the more you are recirculating the air with the virus, spreading it to places far and beyond the exposure location of that one person or two people or few who are sick. So if you take centralized air conditioning in a regular location, it's working, you're feeling nice and comfortable, it sucks in the air, circulates it through other places, you're spreading that virus like a tornado to the entire synagogue.
So what's the
If
best
on
way?
the if on,
What to do?
if
Mhm.
right. If on the other hand, you can control the humidity, increase it to about 50%, the virus will not stay in the air for more than 15 minutes. If it's less than 45, it can hang around from 2 to 4 hours in the air.
How can you control the humidity? By
Well, you have a humidifier, you have a number that you can get the humidity on.
on
Number
the air
one,
conditioner unit?
the air conditioning unit, some of them, yes, some of them come with humidifier numbers. Yes, you can check the humidity. We have in our house a separate one for humidity, and we have in the office where we work as well. Second thing is, yes, opening the window, improving the circulation helps. If there is some outside constant air current, that will help. But you, depending on the nature, and you don't know, is there going to be really air? If there is only one-sided air, it doesn't blow on both sides, and some people are afraid they'll get sick. You don't get sick from air, but still, it's a you know, people are taught that if it's cold, that's why they get sick. The next thing to do, which is really the state of the art, and it reminds me of people who told me when I was building my office, oh, why are you spending so much money? You know, you get a little place, the insurances pay the same, whether you make it beautiful from the best stuff or whether you have a little bit hole in the wall. And I said, I'm not doing it for the insurances. I'm doing it for my patients. I'm doing it for myself. And what I did at that time is invested into proper ventilation. So every room has a vent of its own. And that was the purpose, to remove a lot of the pollutants, a lot of the viruses. I never thought of Corona when I was doing that. So it's like a negative pressure room. So it sucks everything out on top. So if there is a virus, it will remain on the vent that is right on top. Well, when March came and we realized that the virus has come to our to the United States, to New York, I gathered all my staff and we did the groups that were brainstorming what is the best thing to do. And there were a lot of, at that time, different theories what to do. And we realized the only thing that really is effective is UVC. And so I invested. At that time, we didn't have any money, but we lent, we borrowed money, and they gave us a little extension to pay it in parts. We spent $30,000 on a specialized UVC system that we put filled in the ducts. And so when the air is pulled with the, already we have those ventilation system, it sucks it in, it's cleaned outside, and the central air conditioner blows clean air without the virus back inside. So what I would recommend is to look at certain systems. Some of them are less expensive. Now there are better systems than what I put in. And I'm not going to change my system because it's working. Nobody has gotten sick in my office, no one. And we've had people who were sick from the outside, sitting in a lunchroom, close, like 1 foot from one another, who were next to that person who was sick and didn't get sick. The reason was that there was the air constantly cleaning it. And the systems that are available now can be used in the home in a safe way without the UVC getting exposed to your eyes, without having to worry about any kind of cancer, and with a positive pressure. And one of them was a company that asked for me to give them some advice, medical, as to how to work it. And I've seen their development, their patent organization, and their cost. And it's, personally, I think that they have to date the best system, and you can get that. Knowing their system and knowing it was a good system, with my wife, we decided, and we gave a donation to one of the synagogues to fit it. Unfortunately, they decided to rent another location that was bigger and nicer. And in that location, we tried to bring 2 huge systems to clean, but they were scared of it. They put in a corner, and some people even pulled it out of the socket. So when they needed it, wasn't working, and unfortunately, people got sick, which was exactly what we were trying to avoid. So the issue
Very
is,
important lesson. Wait a second. Very important lesson. People went to synagogue on Rosh Hashanah, correct?
yes.
And you offered them a special system to clean the air that they didn't accept. Am I right?
No, let's not put it that way. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. That is incorrect. When we were trying to look, when you have to provide a security, right, for the president, let's say, right, you tell him, okay, you have to pass through that road. I'm going to have my everything has been checked. That road has been checked. Everything is set. I'll have guards on each location, towers. I've checked all the territories, bomb sweeper, dogs. And suddenly, the last minute, you tell me, sorry, I'm going to take another route. I'm like, President, I didn't check the route. I don't know what can I wait through.
I see.
I don't care. I need a nicer road. I need a bigger road. I have a big car. I want to drive like a king. I'm like, you may drive like a king, but you may not be alive at the end of the road. So you do what best you can. So you put some, we put 2 huge machines, but they were too small for that thing, because we never took into account this kind of space and the stuff that was put on the walls. We couldn't take off the walls and put out the location. So we put what we could, but even then there were some people who were incorrectly, unfortunately, again, you're dealing with some people with different mindset, who said, oh, the UVC is dangerous. And again, this were tested. They didn't have, I came close to it like I am, this distance looking at the machine, and I was fine, just to check how it was working. And there were monitors that were checking the amount of UVC, so that it's safe for you. It sucks the air, but they put it in the corner. And even physicians who I respect and love tremendously, were probably pushed by them. And they organized those machines in a manner. When I came into the synagogue to check it, I was there on this one location on Rosh Hashanah on Friday night with my son. I looked at it and I looked, it's like, why is it there? It's like, well, you know, some people were afraid. I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm a guest. I'm a guest. I offer. I do not force. And you know,
And many people,
then the next day apparently, because I wasn't there, they pulled it out of the socket. You know, after Shabbat was over, someone must have pulled it out of the socket. So, and one was apparently pulled out of the socket early. I didn't go to check the other one out. So it was not really, even the ones that we did put in weren't working, and people got sick. Large amounts of people got sick.
large amount of people got sick. I heard that too. So so we spoke about wearing masks. We spoke about distancing. What to do if you cannot distance? Well, stay home.
No, I
I'm
don't
talking about
understand how
synagogue.
one cannot.
I'm talking about going on Shabbat, on Chag, on holiday. Stay home or go to.
Why can't you wear a mask?
No, if you wear a mask, but people will be sitting right near you, right and left.
Very, very smart question. So this is what, and they're not going to wear a mask, you mean?
Let's say yes or no, but the people
If they're
wear.
not going to wear a mask, if they're not going to wear a mask and they're going to be sitting next to you, I say few things need to be done. One, make sure that everybody who even a little bit feels sick does not go in. You're protecting others by doing that. You don't know what you have. Maybe you have the flu, maybe you have something. Just don't go in. Just don't go in.
Right.
Yes, it will take anywhere from 2 weeks, 2 days to 2 weeks, sometimes even 4 weeks before you'll have the symptoms in some cases. But the symptoms, as they start forming, the viral load gets also higher up. So if you are wearing a mask and you still don't have the symptoms, most likely you have a lower virus amount and it didn't really replicate enough, and you're less likely to pass it if you are wearing a mask. So if they're wearing a mask, if they don't have symptoms, you know, it's fine. If you're exposed to someone who had it, and that's another reason why I said it's not a taboo. It's not your fault if you got sick necessarily. So please tell people if you have the flu, get yourself tested and inform them, because if they were close to you, they should not go to the synagogue too.
As we speak, I want to tell you, as we speak, someone who actually was with us on the radio, was with you on the radio, I'm not going to mention the name, said that unfortunately somebody was with us about 10 days ago or so, maybe 2 weeks ago, at the meeting, and was not telling anybody that that person was sick and the person was there. And we are obligated to tell. So right now, we are facing that very situation, that we were at the meeting with somebody who actually was sick, didn't know at the time, very soon realized sick, was positive, but didn't tell anyone. So we did not know. I hope we're still okay, because I wasn't very close. It was like an open area. So I hope I'm fine. But some people just scared to tell, even though they probably need.
Let me tell you, the sad thing is we spoke privately, but I'll say it publicly. I would not blame them. I would not blame them. I would reassure them, because I would say that I've seen the same issue happening with physicians who were sick, and not only in March, not only in April, but today, did not tell others that they got sick, and maybe they felt that they don't need to know those other people because they not necessarily got in touch with them or in contact with them. But this is this is something that we need to correct. It's not about what they did, it's what we are going to do with our current knowledge. And so it's important for us. I mean, I tested myself and I tested my son because we were in a synagogue and we tested negative. And then when I spoke with a person in school, which I suggested them not to open the school, because I said to them, they will be blamed if they open the school. They were considering it, but they said that they still will open it. I said, that's fine. You probably are okay, but just be careful. And I told them that we were there. So they asked me, can you please not have your son come? I said, okay, I understand you. This is your rules. I hear you. And we did the test and it was negative. And today we went to school to bring him back to school. and they said to me, you know what, sorry, the test is not important. You don't have to do a test, but in a week, if he doesn't have symptoms, he can come back. And that is absolutely senseless. It makes no sense. But I will not argue with those people, and I'll not try to educate them, because everybody has their own way that they're following. And if you're part of the program, you have to be part of the team, and you have to follow those rules. Where is the sense? 1 week? Why 1 week? It makes absolutely no sense. If you want to be sure that someone was next to someone else, then do 2 weeks. But the other reason is, if you have a test, and that test is a sensitive PCR test, polymerase chain reaction test, which is what we do when we try to do forensic studies to see who killed who from a little drop of blood that was left there, 2 weeks ago. If that test shows that you're negative, you know what? You're negative, unless it's in the first day, 2 or 3 maybe of exposure. Usually they say 4 days after the exposure that you had. If it's negative, then it's indeed negative. So that it makes absolutely no sense. But again, you're dealing with people who are unfortunately following rules and not following common sense. And it's not my place to argue with them, because
But we do ask you, and I have to tell you, as we speak, we receive questions. Our own dear friend, Zhenya Eugene Lekach, is asking us.
I love him. How are you, Zhenya?
Yeah, we do. He's asking us, he's not with us in live, but he asked a question. And the question is, Dr. Levit, do you support the studies that the flu shot may be useful as immune boost? Which you, I believe, addressed it. But
right.
maybe just to clarify that.
So the answer is, it will not. I'm not an expert in the field. Start with that. But from my understanding, if you do the flu vaccine for 3 of the flus and not the 4th flu, you'll get sick. People who did 4 flus and then got sick with another flu, they still got sick. It will not prevent the corona. The corona is a tricky little virus, and it will do its damage anyway. What you are doing is you're not sending any allies with them. So when Israel was attacked, it was much easier to deal with 1 foe on one side, as opposed to dealing with 7 countries that tried to destroy us. So don't give them allies. Divide and conquer. Don't take your chances. So doing the vaccine for the flu, that is, doing the flu shot, will help your body by reducing its chance of having to fight multiple viruses on multiple fields, and causing increased stress on your body, increased cytokine storm.
So now that you support the vaccination now for regular flu, and concerning a regular vaccine, I'm really very confused, because I believe you spoke about that earlier in the radio program, that even people who were ill, which really like natural vaccination, they can get sick again. So what's the point? Like, if we don't really understand this illness, the whole idea that vaccine will be developed and it will be a salvation, or panacea, so to speak. If our bodies lose, immunity or level, or necessary level of immunity in a few months, it may be the same with vaccine. Or I'm losing something, I'm mistaken.
You are asking all the right questions, and to give the right answers, we need to know more about the way the vaccine is made. Vaccines are believed to cause more of an immune reaction than in some cases the disease. We've seen people get few cases where they got really sick from the vaccine. So I think the future, which unfortunately I don't understand why is so uncommon now, is genetic medication. So there have been some drugs that have been pulled off the market, even though their initially studies were showing successful. And now they're realizing that they, in a subset of population, may save lives. But in others, 90% of the cases, they may kill. And the reason is you have to specifically engineer it for the person's genetics. And the sooner we start getting involved in understanding our genes and tailoring the immunization, tailoring the therapy to strengthen our weaknesses, to patch the areas that are weak, so that we are going to be able to face it without having the side effects, the better all our treatments will be, not only the vaccinations. So as we discussed those 13 chromosomes, you can do the studies now. It's easy to test for one of the most common one, for the antibodies against the interferon we discussed earlier. And if you have those antibodies against interferon, then you know how to expect and what to plan and what to do. When you talk to me about the synagogue and the high holidays, one of the things that I was discussing with some of the rabbis is to have availability of some of the medications that they could take in advance of going to the synagogue. So one of the options is you can take hydroxychloroquine, known as Plaquenil, before you go to the synagogue, and that will help prevent you from getting the corona. If you took 2 pills before you went into the synagogue, and it will be safe enough unless you have an allergy to it. That's another way of also reducing the risk of getting it. But I don't like to give medication. I don't like people to be on it for long term. But for this, for example, holiday, I was discussing with some people, why not get the pills available in advance for them? So those who want to take it before they go into the synagogue, they can take that medication, and they won't get it. But again, everybody was very confident that everything will be fine. But let me tell you, there won't be a second wave. There won't be a third wave. There will be more waves, and they will keep coming and going. And unfortunately, even though this virus doesn't mutate as much, luckily for us, it will mutate. Just like the initial 4 other coronaviruses were mild flus, and this one became such a killer flu, whether it was indeed some people believe partly engineered or not partly engineered, there'll be other things coming out. So you need to learn how to follow proper infection control, and getting those UVC lamps are not going to only kill viruses, but they'll also help in an environmentally friendly way reduce the chance of any kind of flus, which not only, people also don't understand. We spoke about it before. We were finding that a lot of the viruses cause sufficient genetic irritation that they predispose us to cancer. We're talking about the EBV, we're talking CMV, we're talking human papillomavirus. There are plenty more that we just have not linked yet to a specific cancer, and some that we've already found are connected to lymphoma and other types of cancers. So this virus that intercalates into our DNA will potentially 20 years from now cause problems. Just like in the past, people used to use lead in gasoline, lead in toothpaste, because they thought it was very helpful, and then found that it was causing problems. So too, this virus, we will find out 20 years down the line that it may cause increased risk of diseases that we've never heard of before, or cancers. So please, it's don't only think about today. Don't have a short vision, short-sightedness, but realize that this is something that may linger and rear its ugly head at a later time in our lives. So it's important that we protect ourselves, protect others.
Is it possible to protect at all? Because if it's true what you said, and I believe you, I think exactly the same way, because it seems like it's a second wave, and maybe third or fourth. It seems like over time it's almost inevitable that everybody will get sick.
I think most likely you're right, but it's better to get sick later when we are a little bit more aware of all the potential ways of curing in a safe way, of reducing the amount of viral load, right, and of understanding the virus better, what the side effects that it can.
And maybe last question.
So if you can postpone it, there it is.
Oh yeah, of course. But last question in terms of, I got another question on Facebook. Sukkot, holiday Sukkot, we see it outside. So we're sitting outside, and therefore the question is relevant for anybody, a Jew or non-Jew as well. People sit on the bench, people sit at the sea, people sit in the park. So people sitting at the table, having a meal. What do you recommend? How people can do it based on on common sense and your medical advice?
Less number of people, in the sukkah. Some restaurants have not allowed, when we were in Maine, more than 6 people at the table. Why 6? I don't know, but not a bad idea of limiting the number of people within a closed area. Preferably family. If you have anyone else, you want to make sure that they don't have any symptoms or they're not exposed to other people beforehand. Washing the hands and making sure whoever prepares the meal also was not sick, is wearing a mask, washing the hands, because you can get it from utensils, you can get it from inanimate objects. In the sukkah, some people close the sukkah completely. I would leave as much of the sides open so you can get like a chuppah almost. You know the legalities. Is it okay to do something like that? Yes.
Perfectly, yeah, yeah, definitely. There are different beautiful ways, of course. And the air, anyway, the air circulates and the air goes up and down. But it's beautiful.
And then the next thing is you can do is you can put an air purifier in that area that will also suck the air. We have one that's standalone, that's easy to get, that we have in the office. You can put that in the area. It has to filter 3 microns, at least up to 3 microns of particles. And if not that, then you can get into some of the safe UVCs to put them on top of that, and that will definitely give you the 99% protection. So you can relax much more and have the light reduce the risk.
But on a practical level, as you know, me and my family for last many years on Sukkot, on our porch, we invited 30, 40, 50 and more people for the holiday. And it seems like not a good idea this time.
Not a good idea. Not a good, sorry. It's a good idea not to do it. That's you want to be good to your neighbor, don't invite them to the sukkah.
and we actually wanted, together with the Manhattan Beach community, to start a wonderful program inviting young Russian students very soon. And we also feel that may not be a good idea now to have in-person Torah classes, Jewish history classes, because of the environment and the dangers. So in other words, you still recommend the online Zoom classes rather than in person?
So it's a wonderful question that you're asking. And personally, I've always wanted to go and have more of those lessons, but because of time constraints, it was difficult. I have found that the Zoom online classes with people like you who are passionate, who are energetic, you really are able to pass it through, even through the camera, and you don't lose the flavor and the passion and the excitement and the desire to learn more. So if anything, you're getting more people exposed to it. It's kind of like saying, should we remove the internet because people communicate through internet so they don't see one another? And you'd think to yourself, are you kidding me? Internet has connected us more than it separated us. So no, I think it will increase the number of people that are visiting. And of course, some people still want that chavruta. Well, what you can do is you can do 2 or 3 people together and watch your lecture, listen to you together in one room, and you will be in your room. Maybe you have 1 or 2 people there, and this way you're still together, but you're safer.
I want to, first of all, thank you tremendously for this very, very informative interview that I believe saved life. It saves lives, because what you said now and clarified, and in a time of confusion, was very, very important. And in terms of the classes you discussed, my dream is to have you as a speaker. You're a speaker,
Yeah, well, I
and
that,
your songs and your poetry and your articles. It's such a source of inspiration for me personally. I'm your humble student, and I'm learning from you. And I'm so honored that you shared your opinion about this disease. And the summary is, on one hand, is not to be frightened, so to speak, not to get crazy, but at the same time, you have to be cautious. And whatever you said we're gonna do, thank you so much. Best wishes to your wonderful family, to your parents, and to the entire Manhattan Beach community.
Thank you very much, Rabbi, and the same to you and your family.
Shabbat Shalom v'Chag Sameach.
Shabbat Shalom. I'll just say one last thing.
Please.
I've discussed with the patient who told me that, you know, I wish I would go ahead and sing like you do. And I don't think I don't sing well, but you know, I try. The point is, I think that many of us are too shy and too afraid to explore our full potential. And it is people like you who allow us to see the light within us, explore it, and embrace it. And thank you very much for doing that. And I want people to be less judgmental and more inclusive and supportive. And when you are in such an environment, you will see how many beautiful new flowers will blossom, how many fruits will be coming in, the fragrance that will come and will replenish our soul as well, and will give us back the much more than we give, just like you do to your students, as you said to me before. So that's what I would want to say to people. Don't be afraid, try it. And someone who puts you down, guess what? Get away from them, because they are small-minded people, and you need to be lucky to be around people like you, like Rabbi Pluchik, like Rabbi Wiener, like Rabbi Ben Zion Laskin. These are the people that I have personally, as rabbis, look up to, learn each time from, and want to just close my mouth, open my eyes, my ears, and my soul, and just absorb everything, because you make me stronger and happier.
I do want to thank you so much for your kind words, but I have to tell you, you are a real hero of our community. And I'm saying it now, not just to praise you, but you're providing hope, not only for our community, but really for any human being. You came to this country in a family of immigrants, correct?
Yes.
Your father and your mother came from the Soviet Union, lived in Israel, came to America, started life from zero right here. Today, you are a distinguished doctor, one of the most amazing doctors. And I have to say that many people say to me, if nothing can be done, just go to Dr. Levit. This is like, it's a well-known fact. And you're a professor of Columbia Presbyterian Hospital. Your involvement in community is exemplary. So you provide hope for everybody. If you can do it, we also can do it. We can try to be like you. So I want to thank you.
Better than me.
I want to thank you for providing us hope. And I see you exercising every morning. And that's really important. Right. I want to thank my good friend and student Ross, who's doing it together with you. And the lesson is, we say Hivruta or Mituta. Hivruta is an obligation and commitment, right? When two people obligate to run, you run from illness to life and inspiration. Thank you both. I love you so much. Shabbat Shalom and Chag Sameach.
Shabbat
Thank
Shalom.
you.
Thank you.